Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 4 in a series between Lowely and Sage. Game 4 taking place on Ohana, a map that Zerg players absolutely love, and we'll see whether or not it holds up to its reputation. Lowely spawning as the blue Zerg player on the top left-hand side of the map, meanwhile Sage spawning as the red Protoss on the bottom right-hand side of the map. And there's not much I can really say that already hasn't been said in the first 3 games. We pretty much won't see any real strategies come out until the 2-minute mark. And what we've seen from Lowely is that he trusts both his late game Zerg play and also his early game Zerg play as well, utilizing Banelings. So a lot of Protoss players, they are not really defensive enough until they do get those sentries with force field, and Lowely, trying to operate on a 1-base timely, simply was not able to deal enough damage. Now, if you guys remember in game 1, Lowely was able to deal enough damage because Sage had gone for a Nexus first instead of a Photon, or instead of a Forge first, and that opened up the timing window rather nicely, as perhaps Sage was a little bit greedy in trying to get to the late game. Now, the question is, will we see a repeat of that, as we now see Sage doing a great job of just trying to delay the harvesting of resources. It looks like Sage would have been able to get off a little bit more damage here, still wandering around. And what Sage now needs to check is he needs to see when this one hatchery is going to be placed down. All he can really do is stick around here and then see if a queen does come out to play. You can see 19/18 Lowely using that extractor trick once more in order to go upside down in terms of supply. Probe just pretty much sitting off over here now, waiting to see if a hatchery will be placed down. Now, the forge is already up, and we don't see a photon cannon yet, so this could be a little bit of a mistake, as Sage now finally gets his photon cannon. I really think he should have gone for that photon cannon first. He would have been in a much better position, as we are now going into a pylon here. And what will be happening next? Hatchery is coming down, so Sage knows that there isn't going to be that early of a Baneling's nest, as a probe is going to be trying to hold position here against a lot of Zerglings. This is not going to be a good spot. Oh, warps in a pylon and sacrifices himself, as the Overlord now being forced to pull away. All right, Overlord overhead, just doing a bit more scouting. Gateway about halfway completed. We are going into that hatchery down on the low ground. A new queen already up on the high ground as well. This queen, surprised that he didn't actually lay down she didn't actually lay down a creep tumor. Oh, is she gonna do that now? All right, Lowely, thank you for listening to me. It makes me look a little bit smarter, and makes me, nope, actually he's not listening to me, so it's gonna make it look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Perhaps he'll do an inject and then lay down a creep tumor. All right, drones now being transferred over. Overlord's still flying overhead. Cybernetics core is up, or is getting warped in, so we should be seeing perhaps a force field or a sentry followed by force fields momentarily. But it really looks like Lowely could do a variation now, go into a Roach Warren, and then do a little bit of a 2-base timing, as he would have plenty of larvae, and he already has the gas and the infrastructure set up for it. We'll have to keep track of the production tab. Is he going to be going into that Roach Warren and then training up a whole bunch of units? The Zealots are not that effective against those roaches, since they are that range attack. And we are going into 6 more drones as well. Robotics facility now being added, and we need to see perhaps some immortals in order to fend off the next attack. If Sage goes for a fast observer instead of an immortal, and there are roaches, that is going to be a problem. But then again, I'm getting ahead of myself. Lowely has not even built a Roach Warren yet, as he's now going into a quick tier 2 layer. All right, we are running off of 2 gas. Sage is a little bit behind in terms of workers, 31 compared to 39, and Sage still supply blocked. This is a big surprise to me. Why is Sage still supply blocked at this point? as he still needs to warp in more and more pylons. You can see he's at 40 over 44. Now going to be going into an observer, and he needs to continue to warp in pylons. He does not seem to be up on top of his macro nearly as much. Now being forced to warp in 2 pylons at a time. Sentry will be popping out. Warp gate tech about to be completed. Meanwhile, layer is now being added, and we do see that there is 4 gas up and running, so we could have now a baneling's nest. All right, I am absolutely confused. I was gonna perhaps suspect that there would be a quick spire for Mutalisk, but now it looks like perhaps fast ventral sacs and pneumatized carapace for baneling carpet bombing. No, now going into an infestation pit. It feels like Lowely is all over the place, just pretty much building a whole bunch of different options. Yeah, building up a bunch of different tech options at this point. All right, another thing that I am also curious about is that we saw Lowely do a very similar build in game 1, but that was after he was already effective at giving himself a stronger economic advantage. Immortals are now being added here, and I'm still absolutely surprised and curious as to what's going on. Pathogen glands are being added as well. Sage getting up a second immortal, but there is not going to be roaches as he suspects, but he is also going into a warp prism, so units all across the board. Both players trying to counter something that isn't coming just quite yet, but we are going to see those pathogen glands, Zerglings, and perhaps banelings. Zerglings now looking to take down these destructible rocks. New hatchery being established over here on the top right. Sage once again supply blocked at 68. He's very sloppy right now, and now getting up a second pylon. He needs to build perhaps more pylons at a time as the Immortals and the Sentries are doing a bit of a push. Sage doesn't realize that this is not a good timing for him to attack. We'll see how much damage these Immortals and these Sentries can really do. Let's take a look at the army composition. Zerg is much, much larger in terms of gas. Or no, in terms of minerals, but very behind in terms of gas as a warp prism now warping in more stalkers. All right, here we go. We can see that there are a whole bunch of banelings there, and Zerglings. In come the force fields. Are they going to come in? Yes, trapping some of those Zerglings and utilizing even some stalkers as a partial wall, as a new pylon now being established. Stalkers, are they going to be able to take down? There's some more force fields coming in, and now banelings going to be able to splash up. Did they take down the necessary sentries? Sage just getting overwhelmed with Zerglings, and there is the GG. Lowely taking game 4 and this best of 5 series in 4 games, 3-1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 5 series between Sage and Lowely.